After 3 years at Abilene, Texas, in Tactical Air Command's C-130s, that was plenty of adventure, but it got to the point where it was so haphazard and so unstructured and so crazy that it wasn't really good for family life. And I figured, how do I get out of here gracefully and maybe end up in a place where I can have a better structured life eventually, and maybe go back and finish my undergraduate, maybe even my master's degree. And the only place that I saw in the Air Force that would work at that point in my career was to volunteer for Vietnam, and then coming out of Vietnam, become an instructor at the Air Force School of Navigation. And so I'd been at DIAS for about 3 years. I volunteered for Vietnam. I didn't tell Mama San about it. She wouldn't have wanted to hear that anyhow. But I knew that I had to do. You have to do what you have to do sometimes. You have insights to do certain things. Anyhow, I volunteered for Vietnam, and nobody had gotten out of DIAS Air Force Base in the 3 years I was there. Nobody had been reassigned. TAC was hanging on to all its people, so I didn't know if I was even going to get a chance to go to Vietnam. But lo and behold, one day in my distribution box at the squadron, there was a note to go up and see somebody in personnel, and I went up there and they said, well, Lieutenant Anderson, you've got an assignment to Naha Air Base in Okinawa for 3 years accompanied. You will be able to take your wife and son there while you're flying missions to Vietnam. I said, yeah, that's wonderful. But down deep in my heart, I knew that Tactical Air Command probably wasn't going to let that happen. So anyhow, I went off and kept flying with TAC C-130s, their adventures here and there and everywhere throughout the United States, doing different things. And about after 3 weeks, maybe a month, and my assignment was supposed to happen 4 months from the time I originally got it. And people in the squadron knew, hey, Anderson's got this assignment to Naha, but he probably is not going to get a chance to go. So anyhow, after about a month of flying different missions, I came back and from mission one time, and there again is another note in my distribution box. Go see Captain White up in personnel. And I thought, oh crap, here it comes. Canceled out my assignment. So I go up there and go into Captain White's office, and he says, have a seat, Lieutenant Anderson. I said, yes, sir. He said, well, he says, if it's not too much of a hardship for you and your family, we'd like for you to go to Tachikawa Air Base, Japan, rather than Naha Air Base, Okinawa. Now, that is a humongous difference, because Okinawa is just this little spit in the ocean. Japan is a fairly large nation compared to Okinawa. A lot more interesting things. The big city of Tokyo, which Tachikawa is just, I don't know, 25 miles west of Tokyo. I mean, this is unreal. And I guess I probably just dropped my jaw, you know. And then I sort of had a grin. And I thought, Captain White, did one of the guys in the squadron, who's probably your neighbor, put you up to this to just sort of pull my chain? Because you know how guys are. They always fool around. He said, no, this is for real. And I said, well, you bet. Oh my God, this is unreal to go to Japan. And I knew going there that I was going to be flying in Vietnam for 3 years. This was a 3-year assignment. But that was fine. I would get my opportunities there for adventure and doing the right thing and all the rest of this good stuff. So I went back to the squadron, and everybody was curious. What happened up there, Bill? Well, they changed my assignment. I'm no longer going to Naha. I'm going to Tachikawa. I couldn't believe it. What? Oh, God, no. Is your father a 3 or 4-star general? What is this? Nobody's gotten out of here, and now you get a plum assignment. I said, hey, guys, don't get carried away because I'm not there yet. And I didn't think that we were going to make it. I still harbored the idea that TAC was going to cancel out the assignment. And it wasn't actually until we were at least halfway across the Pacific that I thought, hey, we're in. They're not going to call me back. So we went to Tachikawa, Japan, and that's where Tracy was born, and you were barely eligible to make this move. You were born in January, and you had to be 6 months old, so adding 6 months would have been July 23rd. Mm-hmm. And this was in August that we were supposed to go there. So you just made it. And so you wouldn't have been able to travel till you were at least 6 months old. Anyhow, off we go to Tachikawa, Japan. Awesome. And we were thrilled. Your mother was thrilled. I was thrilled. We got there, and it was in August, and oh my God, it was hot and sticky. And they put you in these temporary quarters out in a place called Green Park, where it's like a 12-story high building with all these bedrooms in it that have some cooking facilities and have these Luan walls where you could punch a hole through it with your fist. And no air conditioning. And down in the basement they have a commissary, and they have a barber shop, and they have a BX and stuff like that. And of course the squadron right away wants to get me checked out, you know, because they had lost a navigator going back on some kind of family situation where he had to go back in the States, and that's why I had to be there ASAP and get right with the program. Okay, fine. So I'm doing my local checkout kind of thing, and you and your mother are suffering in Green Park with all the heat. And she was crying, and I had to buy her flowers, and because it was miserable there. And you were having a miserable time too. You were too hot, and you know, oh, it was not good. You don't remember all that, but